Welcome back to Actually, this is the first episode we're doing. The last one was a pilot episode. Welcome to the first episode of the Raptor Den, first official episode, presented to you by Faulty Logics. I am your host, Dan. I'm your producer, your fantasy basketball god.
Is that what we're calling it?
That was bold statement.
We have Peter, who you guys heard last week if you guys tuned in on our pilot episode. And we also have a new guest, Shadiyah, here. So if you haven't listened to us before, basically what this is it's a general basketball podcast, but we're from the city of Toronto, so we're going to try to at least talk about one thing Raptors related every single week, so that we can rep the city a little bit, and that's pretty much it. So starting off, before we even get into anything, I want to try to do a little bit of a promotion. I want to do a little bit of a giveaway. It's nothing too crazy. I have two $15 Google Play gift cards that you can use towards your Google account. So if you have iPhones, screw you. I don't care. And it's very easy to get it. All you have to do is be from the city, from the GTA. Actually, you have to be available to pick it up in Markham. I'm not driving out to you.
Jeez.
We can mail it out. We can't make a
sure. We can mail it.
Situation.
Fine, we can mail it.
So we're not leaving it local? Just anybody?
You have to be from the GTA.
All right.
Fair.
Okay, nobody
Fair
from
enough.
No international postage.
Yeah.
We don't have that kind of funds.
Raptors fans only. So here's the rules. You have to go to Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You're already here on YouTube, so you might as well go down and hit that subscribe button. But Instagram and Facebook, go search Faulty Logics, FAULTYLOGIX. Subscribe, follow, and in the YouTube comments below, leave a comment, and we will select you to win a prize when we have 500 subs.
Just for an idea for comments, we would always like to have topics of ideas or what the fans would like us to talk about week to week. If you leave us a topic you would like us to discuss or dissect there for you, or even with our fantasy god here, any fantasy related tidbits on who to start or who to pick up, you can put that in the list below, and we'll be more than happy to try and help out the best we can.
Yep, and then once we have a winner after 500 subs, we will select somebody at random, and we'll message you, get in touch with you, and if you're in the area, we'll mail out the 2 gift cards to you. With that being out of the way, let's get into one of the topics that I wanted to discuss this week. Basically, Demare Carroll returning to Toronto for the first time since he got traded from the Raptors. And from a lot of the Raptors groups that you guys are in, that I'm also in, I see a lot of random hate for Demare Carroll. You guys are planning to boo him and everything, and I have no idea why.
This is Toronto.
It's Toronto. Hey, we don't forget. We are very hard to forget players that do us wrong. Dan was saying, Demare Carroll's return was supposed to be yesterday, Friday, December the 15th. Of course, he was injured for some injury that I didn't even know that he was being inhibited by. But so that was a good thing for him that he didn't have to sustain to the booing that he was going to get here with Toronto. Reason behind the booing, I think, personally, we got Demare Carroll for a reason. He didn't do that reason for us. He was supposed to be our D and 3 guy to stop the Durants, the LeBrons in the playoffs, things of that nature. He never really panned out for us. So that's my reasoning why I think that the fandom hates Demare Carroll. I don't know if we could say hates, but are just disappointed in the output that he gave us. Doing a quick research that I found on Demare Carroll in his 2 years here. He had 2 years in Atlanta where we got him from, where he made his name from. Mm-hmm. The number one thing that jumped out to me, when his 2 years in Atlanta, he played 143 out of a possible 164 games. That's great. That's durability. I like that in a player. Coming to Toronto for the same amount of times, his games played was 98 out of 162.
He is so injured.
That was devastating. You can't even play a season and a half out of 2 seasons. It's absolutely no money's worth. So I think it was just a waste of money, waste of everything, getting our hopes up for no apparent reason.
But could that be why he didn't perform the way Toronto wanted him to perform? He didn't have enough time.
that could very well be true. That is, he might not have got a shot. His minutes per game haven't dropped off that much from his Atlanta stint to Toronto stint. He only averaged about 4 minutes a game less in Toronto than he did in Atlanta. Yet again, injuries. Like, we just couldn't put him on the court for the regular minutes that he usually gets when he was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Dealing with that, but like everything, his whole stat line is down from what it was when he was in Atlanta.
Right.
Atlanta was not a better team than Toronto was back 2 years ago. Yes, they had Jeff Teague, they had Kyle Korver.
They're close.
They were a similar team, especially in the Eastern. That's a weaker conference. But the production should have been somewhat similar. Just a couple tidbits of stats. From his Atlanta days, he was averaging 11.8 points a game, went down to 9.3. Rebounds went from 5 rebounds a game to 4, which is reasonable. Assists stays generally the same. Another big stat was the field goal percentage. He went from shooting 48% in Atlanta down to 39% in Toronto. 3 points also took a little bit of a dip as well. The style of play is somewhat similar. Yes, we played a little bit more ISO ball than Atlanta. Atlanta liked to move the ball around. I still don't think ISO ball is the reason behind the drop off in production. It is just the overall, we didn't get what we thought he was going to be, and that could just be a Demare Carroll thing.
I see where you're coming from with all the stats and stuff. Right from the beginning when we signed him, I thought we overpaid him. Right from the beginning, I was like, this is the dumbest signing ever since Rudy Gay.
Rudy Gay signing. I don't think I can get over that name.
So. Like, one of the things that I feel like Toronto has an issue with is we like to throw money, like, really easily. Like, Norman Powell played good for, like, half a season? Not even good. It was decent. And all of a sudden, we threw, like, this huge contract at him, and now he's not performing at all. Like, we just tend to throw money at people. And I think one of the reasons why is because it's hard to keep people in Toronto. So we have to give these big contracts to these players in order for them to even stay long term or even want to play with us. So the thing is, once they get here, apparently everyone loves it here.
They fall in love with the city. Well,
yeah.
Toronto's a great city to live in. It's kind of hard not to fall in love with it. But you're right there, Dan. It is contracts. It's hard to keep people in the city, especially being one international going from the States to Canada here. Not a lot of people like to get taxed twice, especially heavily in Canada as well as in your home state. Could be one reason, but
I'm just gonna throw another bad contract there that a lot of people are gonna hate me for. Serge Ibaka.
Really, you don't like the Serge Ibaka?
I like him, but he's not what he was. He doesn't deserve what he's getting. Like, he can get a little bit less, and I'll be okay with it.
Well, of course, you would be okay with it.
Yeah.
But there's also the cap space. There is a certain amount of cap you have to spend on people year in, year out. So when you have that influx of cash, you have to pay somebody.
Right.
And who else are you going to pay? You're already paying DeRozan. Kyle's coming up for he got paid a couple years ago. He's coming up for contracts in about 2 years.
We can't re-sign him.
I hope we don't re-sign him. Well, Kyle, it's always the grass is greener. Kyle is good for now. If we don't re-sign him, who is going to be our new point guard?
Dylan Wright.
Injury situation as well. He hasn't played a full season in his 3 years with the Raptors yet.
True.
Do you want to bank on that for him and his shoulder injuries that he has on both shoulders? You don't know what you're going to be getting. It's going to be the same thing with Norman Powell. Right when we signed that new contract this year, he had that injury that missed a couple weeks this season. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But definitely, I think it would be beneficial if we could find out a player that would willing to come to Toronto, doesn't need to have that stupid big contract to entice them to stay in Toronto. But Demare Carroll, I think the reason why fans don't respect Demare Carroll for as much as he did for us, is that our hopes were high. He was supposed to be our saving grace. He was supposed to do everything for us that we were missing. The 3-pointers, the defense, the hustle, diving on the floor, trying just to get those gritty points. And it just never panned out. So our fans got our hopes up, dashed our hopes. I, for one, would have booed Demare Carroll when he came to the play for the first minute, 2 minutes. After the first quarter, he wouldn't even be worth my time of trying to boo him. So I would have just let him go. But I would have booed him when he stepped on the court. His first time on the back of the ACC, I would have booed him for a little bit. Can't lie.
So Toronto is actually really known for like hating on players that have left us. The most famous one, obviously, Vince Carter, which I guess at the time as a Toronto Raptors fan, it seems justified. But at the same time, I don't know if you guys watched that documentary that came out recently.
I have not seen that yet.
Oh, it was so good. The Carter Effect.
Yeah.
You guys need to check it out. Like, after watching that, you're just like, damn, like, maybe it was our fault that Vince left, right?
I agree with that. I wouldn't say our fault as a fan base because we had
the
no
media.
Say. It was. I wouldn't even say the media. I would say it's the mismanaging from the front office that Vince Carter had a problem with. We didn't give him what he needed. He didn't have pieces around him. We would trade away the pieces that were up and coming.
Yeah.
I think if we kept Vince and Tracy McGrady for a couple more seasons, they could have really gelled. I get it. Tracy wanted his own team. He wanted to have his own spotlight. Understandable.
I understood why he left.
I understand too as well, but it's like
he acknowledged it was a mistake too.
He knows it was because now with the way that the NBA is looking at nowadays, you need 2 superstars, 3 superstars to make a decent run.
Yeah.
Those could have been our 2 superstars back in the early 90s, and we could have just balled out.
Yeah.
I mean, the early 2000s.
Well, one of the things they emphasized in that documentary was, if you guys remember, it was like playoffs, and then Vince Carter was late to a game, I think it was, because he had to go graduate.
Yeah, from North Carolina.
And I think we lost that game.
Playoffs against the 76ers in 2001.
So that moment was the big turning point for Vince Carter because the media and the city started turning on him and blaming him. But at the end of the day, like, can you really blame him for going to his own graduation? Like, that's something that he wanted to do for himself, right? So, and I don't think, like, when he came back, he still played well for the rest of the game, right?
Yeah,
so,
I think that was one of his 50-point games against AI.
So, I don't know.
I don't think it was bad. He wasn't that late. He didn't miss tip-off. He just missed pre-game warm-ups, walk-around, shoot-arounds, that kind of stuff, which isn't really important in my opinion there. It's always good to get a good sweat in before the game, but I think he played just as well without doing all that warm-up. So you are right. I think the media did put him in a bad light after that, but...
And this is a common trend that goes out throughout the entire NBA too. Like, a lot of players are getting traded. It's not even their decision; it's a business decision from the management. Like, you see, what's his name, Gordon Hayward got traded to the Boston Celtics. Isaiah Thomas got traded to Cleveland Cavaliers, and people are like burning jerseys. Like, it's not even their fault.
Yeah, that's true. Well, the Gordon Hayward one is somewhat his fault. He wanted to get out of Utah.
But he had every right to.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas had no say. I think all his fans that burned jerseys were just bitter.
Stupid.
Just bitter.
Just haters. As usual.
And I don't want our fans in Toronto to be like that too. Don't be dumb. Like, we traded Demare Carroll. It wasn't his decision. It was literally
was it not his decision? You don't think it was his decision too?
I don't think it was his decision. We literally dumped him because we got nothing out of it.
And it was a salary cap dump. So we couldn't, because we were paying him something silly as well, right?
Like, it was a $20 million contract.
Yeah, for like 3 years.
Yeah, something like that. And then we also gave up 2 draft picks, and all we got back was Justin Holiday, and we waived him right away. So there's like we just wanted to get rid of him. That's all it was.
Which is very necessary sometimes. You need to make space for bigger things. Like, now we're doing the young guys signing, and then we did that in the hopes of re-signing Ibaka to a new deal in the year to come, as well as just making Norman Powell's deal that he got this season. That was room for that. So it's just we had to make a choice. Is Norman going to be our guy, or is Demare Carroll going to be our guy?
Or CJ Miles.
Or CJ Miles now that we made a move for
and
CJ.
We had PJ Tucker.
Tucker was a temporary fix. So we knew he wasn't coming back.
Well, so one of the things that Toronto is really well known for is developing young talent.
That's all it is.
But, like, why the hell can we not retain this talent? Like, we always do develop great players. They leave and they play really well outside, right? But it's like, another thing too is that we take so long to develop these players.
Bruno?
Yeah. Like, do you feel like maybe, well, I guess it's because we're always in a place where we can contend every year right now. We're usually in the top 4 in the conference. Is it because of this position that we're not willing to put our rooks into the lineups and we're just sending them over to the D League or G League now?
I think we are giving our rooks a good fair shake this season.
This season?
Before, years in the past, we wouldn't do that. But now that the way that our rookies are producing, we are giving them a good shot, and our development is actually getting much better.
Yes.
Years past, the reason was that most rookies didn't want to come to Toronto. They would have a little bit of, in preseason, they would give us a little bit of stigma, and they didn't want to come over here. They didn't want to be drafted by us necessarily. They didn't want to be traded to us. The main thing is, well, not a rookie, but Alonzo Mourning. When he got traded, he did not even report to the team. He did not want to play in Toronto, up and left right from the beginning. But I think we are giving our shots to our rookies now, so I think it's going to be a better year. So it's not going to be as dark times as it was 5, 10, 12 years ago, where we were just bottom feeders every year, hoping to get the number 1 draft pick and waste it with Andrea Baiarni or those kind of players. So now we are actually doing a much better finding talent, coaching talent, and actually retaining our talent. If our GM stays the same, if Masai's management team stays the same, I think it's going to be much better for the years to come.
What do you think about the coaching, Dwayne Casey?
Silence.
Yeah, Dwayne Casey, I like him. He is one of the best coaches that the Raptors organization has had. We've had the best season under his coaching 2 years ago when we had 50-something wins, 52 or 53 wins. He is the best coach the Raptors have had over their 20-something year franchise.
Yeah.
Is it about time to make a move from him? Could be. If it's not this year, not next year, maybe in the 3rd year. It does depend on his contract that he has left. I have no problems with Dwayne Casey. I think he's doing a great job, but
he's a good guy. I mean, defense is really good with him.
Yeah.
But
the offense is what's is lacking. The ISO ball is what they're trying to get away from this season, and we're seeing dividends. Like Demare is averaging at least 6 or 7 assists a game, which he was never averaging.
I think he's
before.
5 to 6, and Lowry's to 7 right now.
7.
So even Lowry's assists are up.
And Lowry's had the most triple doubles in his career in the first 23 or 25 games of the season already. So working the ball around, it's getting moving around now. So I think Dwayne Casey knows what was wrong last season. And I think he's trying to make adjustments for it this season, which is beneficial. I hope. So.
All right, so let's move on to next topic here, All-Star Weekend and our predictions for that. So I guess first thing we should talk about is the new All-Star format. Peter, you want to discuss that a bit?
In all honesty, I totally forgot this even happened because they did announce it in October before the season happened. I totally forgot that now it's not going to be strictly East versus West. It is going to be more of a mixture of a pool of players. The top 25 players, 24 players in the league are going to get put into a pool that is fan voted for the starting 10. And then coaches picked from the East and the West Conference for the remaining 14 players. Out of the 10 starters, the 2 that got the most fan votes, media votes, and player voting would be deemed as captains
of their conference.
So there has to be one East and one West.
Yeah.
That picks from the remaining pool of players that have been selected by fans, media, and players, and coaches. That is a lot to take in.
It's a big change,
It
a
is.
necessary change with all these All-Stars shifting over to the West. Team captain-wise, East, easily LeBron James is going to be a captain. But what do you guys think for the captain of the West?
Okay, before I put my 2 cents in there, yes, I think LeBron James is going to be the captain. I don't think it's going to be as an easy walkthrough as you think it might be.
What?
I think the Greek Freak has a humongous fan base following abroad from the U.S. And I think they might come out to vote for the Greek Freak. I know that Milwaukee had a game in China, and there was a huge following that came out just to see Giannis play. Granted, my vote would still be LeBron James would be captain. I just wanted to be the devil's advocate. It's not going to be a walkthrough. Western captain, that's a toss-up. I have no idea.
Who would you say are the top 3, most likely? Like for me, I would say easily Curry
Curry.
and Durant. I don't even know who the third one would be. To be
Well,
honest.
James Harden has a good fan base.
Oh yeah, James Harden.
So James Harden can do it. I don't know if there's any other people realistically in the West that could
And he
do
coached
it.
the rookie game, the rookie
He did.
sophomore game.
He did. Or was that
Wow.
the one in Toronto? The one
Something like that. It was him and Lowry, right?
that was the Toronto one, but there's been
Yeah.
one in between.
Maybe.
I don't remember where that was. We'll have to Google that one. We'll have to figure out who was the coaches for the rookie games last year. Any other predictions on the Western captains?
Absolutely none.
None?
No.
What about Westbrook? But their record isn't that great.
See, but you have to take records aside though, because when it's fan voting and media voting and player voting, they're not going to be looking at records as much as the coaches would be for the bench players. It is mostly fan voting and who is the most popular in the league.
Mhm.
Westbrook just won the MVP, so all the people that might not be as in tune to basketball would just know his name because it's everywhere because he is the MVP.
Yeah.
So he could very well get a lot of those half basketball fans. You know what I mean? So he could get some of those votes, and he could very well be a close third. But I think hands down, it's going to be Durant or Curry.
It's Curry.
Um,
Curry.
Yeah,
Curry.
I can't oppose that. But Kyrie Irving's making a big splash in the East, though. So
True.
he's been in a lot of newspapers, a lot of articles, especially going to Boston. He could generate some buzz and might put himself in there, especially with Boston playing as good as they're playing. He could very well get in there from fan voting.
Just from all the LeBron haters, I think he could get a lot of votes.
That is very true, and the whole Cavalier haters, because people don't like winners. Like, if your team is not the one winning, you usually hate the winners. But then again, you can't stop greatness. I think it's going to be LeBron and Curry as the two captains of the All-Star game. I don't know. It's going to be fun to see. Voting starts actually this Monday, I believe, December the 18th.
Perfect.
Or December the 18th or either the 23rd. It was one of those 2 days that I read. Not sure, but voting is starting soon. So, guys, get out there and vote for your favorite players to see if you can get DeMar DeRozan as a captain of the Eastern Conference. No, I'm playing. I know that's not a possibility, but it's always nice to
But
hope.
you gotta at least
it
get
would
him
be
as a
nice to
starter
see.
or
It would be
something.
nice to see.
Get him in the All-Star
in
game.
the starting list. So yes, we still have control over the starters. So we could very well get DeMar in there. Maybe not a captain, but we could get him as a starter. He's
I
got
think-
my vote.
Yeah.
I think he's easily the best guard in the East. Best shooting guard at least. Best shooting guard.
I was gonna say Kyrie Irving is the best point guard.
Yeah.
Well, the best guard in the East, in my opinion. Like hands
So-
down.
Like among guards, it's a toss-up between like Wall, Kyrie, and DeRozan. Really, those are the three best guards in the East, I think. If you really want to throw in Ben Simmons, if it counts.
Yeah, you can throw Ben Simmons in there. I love Kemba Walker. Like Kemba Walker can't do any wrong for me. If he can stay healthy, he's leading the Hornets amazingly.
I have a question mark beside his name because I really want him to be an All-Star, but his team is trash. So I don't know if it's going to help his situation, but he's putting up great numbers. I like him.
Yes. There has to be some other Eastern guards that could very well be in the conversation as best guards out of those three that you said.
Bradley Beal, Victor
yeah.
Oladipo,
Victor's having a season too.
Chris Middleton,
No.
Goran Dragic,
No.
Kyle Lowry, Dwayne Wade. No, Wade is not going to get it for
No.
sure.
Sorry, Wade's a little old now.
That's about it. Everyone else are bigs. Like here's a list of bigs that are gonna make it for sure. We got LeBron James for sure. Kevin Love, I think, is gonna make it just out of virtue that he's on the Cavs. You have the Greek Freak. Andre Drummond, I have a question mark there because there's a lot of really good big men.
Mm-hmm.
So Drummond might not make it just because there's so many good ones out there. There's Porzingis, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons. You got Hassan Whiteside, maybe Dwight Howard.
Hassan
Howard
Whiteside's
is-
been injured for most of the
True.
season, so I don't think he would be out there. Dwight Howard's having a pretty decent.
He is having a good season.
I would say a decent month.
Yeah,
He's
and
been
same
traded up to
situation with
December.
Kemba, like just that team.
I don't know. I like Bledsoe now that he's with the Bucks. Now he's in
Yeah.
the East. Haven't watched enough with him with that situation yet to see if he's the real deal or not.
He's been good in Milwaukee, but he's only been in Milwaukee recently.
Yeah.
So.
Still new.
Yeah.
I like the Victor Oladipo throw out that you threw out there. I think he could very well snake an all-star spot, not a starting position.
A reserve.
But he could very well get a reserve spot. John Wall, he's one of those every year kind of all-star players.
Has he been an all-star yet?
Yep.
Yes?
Yep. John Wall was an all-star in Toronto for sure. I remember that. He's had a couple all-star appearances. Bradley Beal would be a number one. This would be his first appearance in the all-star game if he does make it.
First year that he's fairly healthy.
And producing.
Yeah. But the West is a lot more interesting because the West is going to have a lot of people that are not going to make it that should be in the games. So I have 9 guys that I start off as going to make it for sure. I have Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Chris Paul, James Harden, Anthony Davis, Boogie, Westbrook, and I also added in Paul George because I think he is playing really well in his team, to be honest.
Paul George, that would be the one asterisk I would put around. I don't know if Paul George is doing enough in Oklahoma to do that, to be an all-star. But what about the big cat, Karl Anthony Towns?
He's been a bit disappointing this year. I think maybe just in the past week or two, he's kind of stepped it up. But I have Cat in here too. So here's the guys that, these 9 guys that I named are who I think are going to be in there for sure.
No doubt.
So then we still have 3 guys who have to fill. And these are the list of people that we have to pick to fill in these 3 spots. We have Draymond Green. We have Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge, Andrew Wiggins, Jimmy Buckets, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. That's a deep, deep West team.
Western Conference. That is very true. Lillard's going to get snubbed again.
I hope he does it, man.
It's going to be the absolute worst situation. Disappointment is correct. I don't know. I like the big cat. I think it's going to be Karl Anthony Towns. I think he might even make a starting position. Like, he has a fan base too. Media loves him. Coaches love him. I think other players love him as well. So I think he can actually make a starting run if people get out there and vote. Kawhi Leonard is a question mark as well, just because of the injury. We haven't seen enough of him this year.
He's only played 30 minutes.
Hasn't stopped that in the past.
Produced really well in those 30 minutes.
Kobe Bryant missed almost a season. He was still voted as a starter.
Yes.
Allen
Iverson.
So you can't put it across. Anything can happen. So I think Karl Anthony Towns could make a run. But you are right. If they kept it East versus West, the West just has so much depth. It wouldn't have even been a game, at all.
Mm-hmm.
So do we like this new structure? Making it fair?
It's making it fair. It's making it fair for sure. Maybe they'll change it once things even out again, if they do even out. But
it will never even out again. I think everyone's afraid. Well, it might even out when LeBron leaves because everyone runs away from the East because they don't want to see LeBron. I don't know. I'm indifferent at the time. We got to see it happen to see if it's worth it to work out or not. I can't say that I like it. I can't say that I hate it. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to bring a lot more fans to the game, though. I think it's going to make it much more interesting other than the game from last year where it was 192 to 180. So it wasn't even a game anymore. No one was playing defense. This might make it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more close, a little bit more entertaining. I don't know. We'll have to see.
When it comes to the team captains picking players, who do you guys want to see certain players play with each other now that you can mix the conferences? I know last year the big thing was seeing Westbrook and Durant play together, and they actually inserted him into the Golden State lineup.
That was actually my favorite lineup I've ever seen. Westbrook, Curry, Durant, Green, and Klay.
That was so fun.
One together. That was entertaining. My biggest thing is if LeBron is the captain and he gets first pick overall, do you pick Kyrie? Why not? Kyrie is arguably the best player in the league right now that's not named LeBron James or Kevin Durant, who we are arguably saying that are going to be the two captains. The next best name is Kyrie Irving or Giannis Antetokounmpo. But
So what if you're LeBron James and Curry is the captain? Would you pick Durant? Or vice versa? What if Durant's the captain? Would you like to see Curry play with LeBron?
that is good. I don't know. I would like to say
That would mess with fans.
it would mess with fans.
Mess with their emotions.
Everyone would be.
You don't even know who to cheer for.
No one would know what to do. No one would know what was going on. Who would guard who is the main question.
It's like Durant picks Kyrie and LeBron picks Curry. Yo.
Hey, why not? And then Westbrook comes up on either team, can go on LeBron's team, and then just go against Durant. And
Crazy, yeah.
That'd be nice to see.
It makes for a lot more storylines for the media to go through, as well as who's going to be the last pick overall, who's going to be first pick overall. It's going to be a lot of storylines that are going to be made. But I would definitely like to see our fans who they think number one pick's going to be overall and who's going to be last pick overall, and if there's going to be any snubs that might happen this year.
Yeah,
I think Damian Lillard's going to get snubbed. Paul George is on that fringe of maybe getting snubbed.
Yeah, I'd be curious as like what other people, like the fans or whoever's listening, what you guys think are like some interesting matchups or like teammates that you want to see play together. That would be really cool.
That'd be good to see. I think I would love to see a nice lineup of LeBron, Kyrie, Kevin Love. You could put in Durant on that team as well, and like just see them dominate. Absolutely dominate.
If Lillard makes it, I want to see him play with LeBron, because he's so pro LeBron, and like, yo, this is what could happen in Cleveland. Go on. Or Boogie and LeBron.
Boogie.
I'd like to see Greek Freak and LeBron. Those two guys.
Well, they played last year together.
They did, but like those two guys are a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if you throw Ben Simmons and LeBron, that would be a show to see as well.
The thing is, like, I think LeBron, he goes out there just to play for fun now. He's not as competitive. Like, the two guys that are competitive is Westbrook and Giannis. Those are the only two guys that are actually trying to win.
But I think this new change in format is going to make it into
more competitive.
Because LeBron is thinking, well, I have 5 other legitimate Eastern superstars.
Yeah.
And then I have a bench full of mediocre players. The Kemba Walkers, who is a superstar, but he's like not the top echelons of NBA super mega.
You're not gonna want to pick Oladipo right away.
Exactly, like Oladipo, people like that, or you'll have the aged Wade. You'll have, I don't know, like the Dennis Schroeder, who is actually playing pretty decently enough for Atlanta. Someone has to, but I think this format's going to make it way more competitive, especially because of that reasoning behind it. The West is just way more deep, way more talented than the East. Mixing it up is going to make it a better game to watch, I hope. We'll see.
I definitely agree. All right, so let's move on to our final topic of the day. We're going to talk about recent Ball Brothers news. Everyone likes the Ball Brothers.
You can't have a basketball podcast if you don't talk about LeVar Ball once.
You got to talk about LeBron. You got to talk about the Ball Brothers.
You have to talk about the Ball family at least once on every basketball something. First thing, before we even get into the main news, why the Balls are in the news right now, how about the new rule that the Lakers are implementing in the NBA, known as the LeVar Ball rule, where media is not allowed to interview friends or family members of the organization after pregame, during pregames, during postgames, or out throughout the league, throughout the day. Pro or con, do you like seeing less LeVar Ball on your NBA telecasts?
I mean, he's entertaining. I actually like watching his stuff because it's so ridiculous. But at the same time, I understand where they're coming from a business standpoint, because he's shitting on the Lakers franchise like constantly. Yep. And like that's not good to look for their business. And like I don't know, it's good for him and his brand.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like I don't think anybody else really gets interviewed, to be honest, other than him.
I have never seen somebody that doesn't actually work or play for a team get interviewed as much as this guy. Not once in my life. I was actually sitting around and I was just going through some Laker press releases. I saw more LeVar Ball interviews than I saw Brandon Ingram interviews. And Brandon Ingram is their guy. He's their main guy that they try and feed around to have Lonzo go with. I've seen more of Lonzo's father than I have of Brandon Ingram, which blows my mind. It is absolutely hilarious to me. But hey, media, I can't fault the media for this because they go where the story is.
Right.
Exactly.
LeVar Ball is a story.
Right.
All the time, which is great.
But before we even get into the Ball brothers to Lithuania, then the game recently with the LeBron James and Lonzo Ball. Did you guys see
I saw that.
the post game? You know, like speaking through the jersey, hiding
The lips. I wonder what was actually said in that conversation.
So there's a video.
Is there?
Oh.
Yeah. So there's a Chinese video. You can Google it. So Chinese media was also like broadcasting the game, and their cameras picked up what they were saying.
How?
And it was actually pretty simple.
Leave it up to the Chinese. They would find a way. They would
I
find
didn't
a
want to be
way.
the one to say it. But I was like,
They would
how?
find a way.
So all it was basically was he was telling Lonzo to find the zone, and once he finds it, to fucking stick to it. And it's like everything else is just noise. Like he's like, they're gonna ask you what I said. They're gonna ask me what I said. Just say nothing. It's not for them to know and stuff like that. And just basically just play your game. Everything is noise, right? Just don't get distracted by it. That's all he was saying. Yeah.
I've actually seen a lot of LeBron press releases of him trying to bring in Lonzo into the basketball brotherhood, trying to get his father out of the limelight, saying like, we know what he did, we know what he does. We are doing a job. We have a brotherhood. He's never been in the league. He's not a part of the brotherhood, so we shouldn't talk to him as much. But Lonzo, now that you're in the league, you're in the brotherhood, let's try and get you out of the negative stigma that your father has put yourself into.
It's a really nice gesture as well.
I love it as a basketball ambassador.
Lonzo has openly said, like, my favorite player growing up is LeBron James, and he's been actively trying to get LeBron to the Lakers, right? So this is actually the first time they've ever met, and so like having somebody you look up to come over and give you advice like that's pretty big, right?
That's very big.
To be recognized. And the other thing too, I think what LeBron likes about it, the way that he's doing it, is because his free agency is coming up. Everyone's asking about where LeBron is gonna go. Is he gonna leave Cleveland? And if he leaves Cleveland, is he going to the Lakers?
He just bought a new LA home.
Yeah, a second home, bigger one. Speaking of that, like we even just talked about LeBron declining the 3-point shootout this year at the All-Star game. So he said, why would I want to go to the 3-point shootout when I can just stay at home and spend time with family, right? So I think that's another move. Like, first of all, if you're making as much money as him, why wouldn't you want a house in LA? But the other thing too is it creates speculation, and when there's all this speculation about LeBron possibly leaving, that puts pressure on the Cavaliers to make moves to keep him there.
But then again, I don't think he has to put any more pressure on the Cavaliers organization. Just look at his resume. He's been to 7 straight NBA Finals.
But you know Dan Gilbert's a cheap son of a bitch.
Fair, but I would be like, Dan, I had given 7 straight NBA Finals appearances. Give me what I want.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to take those finals somewhere else. I.e., look what I did in Miami a couple years ago. I have no problem leaving.
Yeah.
You know I have no problem leaving. Give me what I want. And I'm not going to give him what you want. Like, there's only one.
They're trying at least. It's weird the things that they are trying, but would you say that this roster that he's on is the best roster he's ever had?
No. I don't think so. On a paper standpoint, possibly. The way the league is set up, probably not, just because there's so many good teams everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
You need that extra it factor. Is it good enough to win a championship? Yes. I think this team is good enough to win a championship as long as they stay healthy, keep producing the way they're doing it. I don't think they need to get anybody at the trade deadline to put them over that one edge. I don't think there's anything else that they need to do to get better. Like, they have a pretty decent enough point guard, not Derrick Rose. They have a decent enough bench. They have 3-point shooting. If Kevin Love can start rebounding a little bit more aggressively, that'll be good. I know that there is a lot of speculation that they need to go out and get a center like DeAndre Jordan, someone like that. Marc Gasol, I've heard his name tossed around the Cleveland
Boogie.
Or Boogie Cousins. I don't see Boogie moving again within this year, potentially though. I don't think that's the case. I don't think they need to get a center to bring them over that edge. I think they just need to gel together and figure it out.
They've been gelling really well recently.
Okay. Yeah.
I lost my train of thought.
But then again, they do need to get rid of Tristan Thompson.
Yes.
I love myself some Tristan Thompson. I like the nice homegrown guy.
It's the Kardashian curse.
He is just not the way to do it. I know we actually last week we talked about that Kardashian curse. If he does break up with Khloe or whoever he is dating with,
one of them,
Kardashian is dating, he will probably get a championship because I know the same thing happened with Reggie Bush and Kim Kardashian. When he broke up the next season, New Orleans Saints won the Super Bowl. So hey, it could be the Kardashian curse that might stop him from getting a championship right now.
Wasn't James Harden dating one of them? Courtney?
I doubt it.
Yeah, and then I think Blake Griffin is dating Kylie.
No,
Or Kendall?
I don't
Really?
think so.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Okay,
Yo,
hey, that's
check
news
it
to
out.
me.
Check it out.
I was gonna say that's news to me.
Now,
I don't
I'm
know.
like, wait.
I don't know.
It's one of the Jenners. I don't know which one.
No, there's no way.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, it could very well possibly. It could have been. I don't even know how the Kardashians got into this podcast right now, but I know Jordan Clarkson was dating one of them, the Jenners. I think it was Kendall. Don't quote me on that one. I think it was Kendall though. Once upon a time. I don't know. That is definitely something that we're gonna have to Google. Hey, fans out there, if you do know that for sure, send that in. Put that on a tweet or link on YouTube. I would like to know that for sure. I'd like to leave a comment below. Okay, so actually, let's get back to the main topic.
The Ball brothers.
The main topic, how we got into that segue, I have no idea. But the Ball brothers and LeVar Ball actually has taken his middle son, Leangelo, out of UCLA basketball because they were going through the China debacle that he had when he got caught stealing. They were talking about suspending him
2 months, which is pretty much like the rest of the season.
Yeah. And LeVar didn't agree with that, so he pulled him, sent him and his son that's still in high school.
Took him out of high school.
Took him out of high school,
Yep.
signed him to an agent that is representing Lonzo, and brought them to Lithuania. Pros or cons? Oh, pros and cons. Is that a good move, bad move, or are you indifferent at this time with the Ball brother movements that they're doing?
It's a disaster waiting to happen, I think.
Would they?
Personally.
So you're saying that they would have been better, like in the position that they were?
Definitely. How are you going to pull your youngest son out of high school?
But that happened before the China thing, though.
No, he was getting homeschooled.
Yeah, he was getting homeschooled.
So the
Which
youngest was still getting
pulled him out of school.
Yeah, it's true. They were putting him out of school and then getting him homeschooled. But now they would have to do that homeschooling abroad in Lithuania. Culture shock.
I don't think they care about the school.
This kid's not 18. Like, he's not even 18 yet.
16.
No, 16.
Yeah, so going to Lithuania and being exposed to that kind of culture shock, one playing in a league with grown men.
European pros.
Like,
and he's only played in high school.
And like, granted, it's competitive basketball in LA high school system. It's not soft basketball. But playing against other 16, 17-year-olds and then going to play against 28, 29-year-olds, that's a shock. Like, that is can make or break a career. I know with players going abroad, there are very pros because you get paid. 16-year-old making money, professional basketball, that's a pro. But what happens if he can't make that transition in that league and he just falls out of basketball? Just doesn't play good, loses his confidence, and then all his game film that the NBA scouts are going to be watching is just garbage. Would you take a shot on a kid that can barely make a living in the Lithuanian basketball league?
True. For me, I feel like it's a good move for LaMelo. Not so much to LeAngelo because I don't think that guy's going to make it to the NBA anyways. But LaMelo, I think for him, pretty much his entire basketball career, he's been coached by his dad. And the way that his dad coaches him is basically take every shot that you can. Right? So I think getting put into a system where he's playing pro basketball at that young age, he's finally getting some real coaching, and he's going to have to learn how to play as a team. Because if he continued playing the way that he is all the way up until college, and then he's a one and done, and then go over to the NBA, like, people don't like that in the first place. Like, coaches don't even like that. People have already been saying he's going to have a hard time getting into the NBA because he doesn't know how to share the ball. He's a selfish player. So putting himself in that position, if he's not even in school anyways, it's great for him. He's going to learn how to play on a professional level. And playing on a pro level for that many years before he can finally get drafted in the NBA, I think is going to give him that maturity. Hopefully. And he's the cockiest one out of all three of them. Mm-hmm. Like, he needs to get toned down and, like...
Usually the youngest is.
Yeah, it's usually. Like somebody needs to slap him in the face hard with reality, you know?
Hey, and that's going to be the Lithuanian pro basketball people that are going to do that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know much about the younger ball brothers yet, purely because I haven't had exposure to them. They've played no college basketball. Mm-hmm. I don't have access to LA high school basketball tapes or anything of that nature. There are tapes on YouTube I have dabbled a bit into.
I saw a funny stat line before you continue. It was a fake news thing, but it showed LiAngelo's stats. It's like 0 minutes, 0 across everything else, and then like one steal.
I saw that myself.
But is this more of a publicity stunt?
Everything
there's
the
a
ball
brand.
Does
yeah.
is
his father's brand.
I think actually now that you bring that up, I think that's a very good point. Now they can have an actual channel to bring the big baller brand internationally. Now that they're actually playing in Lithuania, they're going to be. You see the Ball brothers wear their triple Bs everywhere they go.
Yeah,
everywhere they go, you see them wearing their triple Bs. Now that they're going to get international exposure with Lithuanian media outlets, Lithuania team, maybe get a deal or something of that nature. It is a big publicity move, and can you fault LeVar Ball for doing that?
No,
I think he's more or less, yes, a businessman, but I think it helps his family, it helps his brand, it helps everything. I don't know if it helps his sons reach the NBA, which is the end goal.
Yeah.
But then he has said in a press release the end goal was to play professional basketball. He never said NBA basketball. He wants all his boys to play professionally somewhere. Mm-hmm. Mission completed. All 3 of their boys are playing professional basketball. Granted, 2 of them were in Lithuania. Well, not as of yet, but they're going to Lithuania. But hey, mission completed. That's any father's dream, to have all 3 of their boys playing professionally somewhere. So I can't fault LeVar for doing that. I don't think it's the best decision, but there could have been much worse decisions to make as well.
Just out of speculation, how many shoes do you think they've sold?
Didn't it come out and say Ice Cube bought 12 pairs?
What?
Ice Cube has bought a dozen pairs of Big Baller brand, the Zoe 2.
Yeah.
Is that the shoe name? The Zoe something?
Yeah.
Ice Cube came out and he said he has bought a ton of those shoes.
Wow.
Purely because he loves the LeVar Ball family and he loves what they're doing. Ice Cube's kind of out there. But like I think they have sold a surprising amount.
The Jello 3s are like $500.
Yeah.
I can get 2 pairs of LeBrons.
They were selling flip-flops. They were selling Zoe 2 flip-flops for $225 American.
Holy shit.
So I think if they sold 1 pair, that's an astronomical amount. But I think they've sold quite a bit.
I think the biggest selling point is, to be honest, it comes with a really fancy display case. I would buy it just to get the display case and throw the shoe out.
Just get the box. That is a shame. That is a shame. If that's the way that's going to be going nowadays. If people are going to buy shoes,
I'll put my LeBrons in there. Or my J's.
Rebrand them. I think hey, they're not ugly shoes. The pricing doesn't match the shoe.
Would you buy them?
Heck no. If I was a NBA superstar that had money to blow, yeah, why not? Like LeVar said, if you can't afford it, you're not a big baller. Hey,
these guys are great.
No wonder why he's sending his sons. He needs the money.
He needs money. He needs money to do whatever he wants to do. I don't know what his goals are, but they involved big baller bank accounts.
Shadiyah, your kid plays basketball.
Sure
Can we
does.
talk about him?
Sure. He's
I want to
only
know what
7.
shoes he wears.
Hurts my heart to say this, but
LeBron's.
LeBron's.
Yes.
Why not? Why is that hurt your heart?
Because they're easy.
Yeah.
He just has to Velcro. There's no.
That's fair.
laces.
Oh, he's got the new ones, the
The new
soldiers
ones.
or something.
I don't
Oh,
even know what they're called.
those are nice, actually.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
There's 2 pairs.
I just bought myself a pair of Steph Curry Under Armours. I don't know what name they were,
Yeah.
but like Under Armours are looking pretty nice. Steph Curry's, yeah.
I think LeBron made fun of them recently.
I'm sure he
But-
has. LeBron makes fun of everything, especially if they're not his brand.
Oh, no, it wasn't LeBron. It was Kevin Durant.
Oh.
Kevin Durant is like, he's like, why would I want to sign with Under Armour? Like, everyone goes with Nike. If you're a baller, you want Nike.
That's true. But I like Curry's knowledge and foresight to go with Under Armour because, like you said, everybody goes with Nike. But
Yeah.
now you get diluted. Like, yes, you know Jordan's with Nike. You know Kobe's with Nike. You know with LeBron's with Nike. In all honesty, I knew Durant had a shoe deal. Did I know it was Nike? I don't think so. So you get diluted. Like, everyone has a shoe deal, but
Yeah.
only the 3 names, Kobe, LeBron, and Michael, do you associate with Nike.
Yeah.
Everything else is like, oh, yeah, I know you have a shoe. Is it Nike or is it Adidas?
Right.
That's true.
So, I like Steph Curry because if you see an Under Armour logo, it's a Steph Curry shoe. Like, there's no other. It's either you're buying a Steph Curry Under Armour or you're not buying an Under Armour shoe for basketball. That's about it.
Yeah.
So I like Steph Curry's idea. As a businessman, I would have done the same thing.
Didn't your son not like LeBron James at first, though?
Yep. And he loves the shoes.
Oh, just the shoes?
Yeah.
He
just
still
the
doesn't
shoes.
like the player?
Nope.
What?
I think that's still more of just a social statement that everybody has LBJ shoes. It's like the Jordan, like, people probably don't even like Jordan, but you have to have a Jordan shoe just because.
I don't even know if you play basketball in Jordan.
Yeah,
So they're just
you can't play ball in
No,
Jordans.
some people do.
who?
Kawhi Leonard plays in
in
the
Jays?
11s. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you can Google it. He plays in the 11s.
Good for him.
Um,
They're more of a fashion piece.
right.
And-
Especially the earlier ones.
Yeah, they're not for ball.
I think the 11s are the ones that like are most commonly seen in the NBA.
True. I would say if you're looking for a shoe that does fashion and football, actual playing of it, you gotta go with Kobe's. Those Kobe shoes, like, they're sleek, they're lightweight,
But they're so
comfortable.
low cut.
I like low cut shoes. I'm a low cut kind of guy.
I
So-
think it's because I sprained my ankle once really bad.
Oh, I sprained
I'll
all
never
my
wear
ankles.
low cuts again. LeBron's have served me well.
Oh, you have LeBron's too.
Of course.
I love the Kobe low cuts. They're the best. Well, I don't know.
I've never rolled my ankle with LeBron, so
Yes.
that's what it is.
Yeah, keyword yet. Hey, I get you on that court, 1-2 cross, ankles are broken. Ankles are broken.
So good.
Yeah. So overall consensus, I think we should all wear our voices here. Going back to the LeVar Ball and the Ball brothers, yay or nay for moving your kid to Lithuania? Would you move your kid to out of country, like a totally different country, in the aspirations of playing professional basketball?
Just to put it into perspective, let's look at Andrew Wiggins going to the U.S. for high school. Would you do that?
No, but you can't put it into the U.S. because that's an easier transition.
Sure.
It's if you're moving your kid to, I don't want to say Lithuania again, but like moving your kid to Lithuania.
But if you move him to Lithuania to be a pro versus move him to Lithuania to be
high
put in high school,
That's
it's different.
that is different.
That's very
Right?
different.
That is different.
So to play pro out of high school, I'm gonna say nay. I wouldn't do it for my son.
But to the States?
Depends on the state, I guess. I would if I had kids and they had the opportunity to play high school prep ball in the States.
Yeah,
Depends on the state.
but we're
of
saying,
course.
didn't we say pro?
No, just high
So
school.
just high school. Okay, that's different. Okay, I take that back then. I would send him away to high school if he was
In
going
the
for high
US.
in the U.S. Yes.
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 If you got a prep scholarship, I wouldn't be like opposed to it. Why not? I think it's a great exposure.
Mhm.
It teaches him, like you said before, the maturity of being on your own. Like,
Yeah.
mommy and daddy aren't going to hold your hand forever. Like, this is what the real life is going to be about. Balance your schoolwork, balance your playing, your practicing, balance your home life, your everything.
I think it's
You can do it
different
all.
in high school versus a pro, though.
Pro though. That's what I'm saying.
Because in high
That's what it
school,
boils
there
down
really
to.
are no rules.
No, that's true. And you have your teachers holding your hand.
But
There you go.
But as a pro, you have a contract that you have to withhold or uphold.
Exactly, and that's gonna be
Hey.
for
And then-
a 16-year-old.
That's
Like,
true.
I'll never have to go
rough.
through that because of my genetics. But
No, but the main thing is it's the fact of pro is different because you're getting money thrown at you.
Yes.
Now that you're
Exactly.
having money coming in, being 16 years old. If I was 16 years old getting a couple $1,000s a month, like the hell would I do with that money?
But that's what I'm saying. Giving them that money right now, are they going to be playing to their full potential? They know there's money coming in the bank, so
it'll be like Justin Bieber.
we tested out of it.
Too much money at too young of an age.
It's true.
True, yeah, you go buck wild.
So
But then
it's a
again,
disaster waiting to happen. for
could
these
you
boys.
go buck wild with a LeVar Ball father when he is micromanaging everything you do?
I think
Can
if
you-
you're Lonzo, no. Like
'Cause
I
he's
think
the first
I think
one.
Lonzo's pretty tame.
He's the prodigal son.
Yeah. But I think LaMelo's out of control.
That's true. Yeah, you're 16. Well, hey, he's been in the limelight since his brother was in UCLA when he was like 13, 12 years old.
Mhm.
They were getting scouts to his prep school, like grade 8, grade 9 games, which
Mhm.
is unheard of. But hey, so that's true. I would like to see. I'm going to be thoroughly entertained by this whole saga while it unfolds in Lithuania to see if it works. And I know our own Raptor JV has put his stamp of approval on this move to the two Ball brothers going to
He did.
to Lithuania. Yeah.
He's pretty pro. He's like, if they get into any trouble, I'm gonna help him out. Blah blah blah. But I almost feel like it's because it's his home country, he has to rep it and
Well,
like say like, no, my country's great. Like yeah, we love it.
and of course,
Yeah,
they're
that's
going to ask JV because how many other Lithuanians are in the NBA?
Right.
Slim to none. I can't think of any off the top of my head. So the only person that they have to get a statement from is JV. I don't know. I think it's gonna be great. I think it's gonna be fun to watch. Let's see how it unfolds.
I want to see something happen and then see if JV is still gonna be like, yeah, I got your
Yeah,
back,
I
you
got
know?
This is my back.
I got your
good.
back.
I don't know. Next question off the ball situation. I know we're trying to wrap it up here. Would you use a first round draft pick with these two boys, one of these two boys coming from Lithuania, if they play with all intents and purposes decently enough?
I think with LaMelo, yes, because you know the kid can score. It's gonna come down to whether the kid can play team basketball.
Hmm.
If he can play team basketball, yeah, I would use a first rounder.
Good question. I can't see myself using a first round draft pick on any Ball family members, just seeing from what Lonzo's done.
True.
If the Lakers could go back in the draft, I can't say confidently because I don't know what Magic Johnson is thinking about here or anything. I think they would draft differently. I do not think they would take Lonzo. My I don't know. His shooting percentage is my main reason why I would never use a draft pick on a point guard that shoots under 40% from the field.
Was he shooting under 40% in college though?
Good question. Not sure. 1 year in UCLA, I don't know what his stat line was looking like.
I think he was decent, but I think it was just the fact that
He's
NBA is smarter than college in terms of defending.
And
An
just
awkward shot.
The talent pool is much smaller. Being 30 teams opposed to the hundreds of colleges that are out in the world, out in USA. But you're right. I don't know what his field goal percentage was or his shooting efficiency was in college. The main reason why the Lakers picked him up wasn't for scoring and it wasn't for shooting. It was for playmaking.
Playmaking, yeah.
I understand that. Being in the NBA, you can't be just a playmaker. You have to shoot. You have to shoot. I.e. Rondo. Like Rondo was,
Or Rubio.
or Rubio. These two are arguably one of the two best playmakers to ever come into the NBA. They can't shoot a jumper outside the paint. They are not superstars because they can't shoot.
Hey, Rondo got good this year.
He got good this year. I would give you that. His shooting has taken a step, but like you still give him 5 feet space because you know he's not going to hit the shot on you.
Yeah.
And you live with him taking those mid-range jumpers. You live with Rubio shooting. You live with Lonzo shooting those threes. You try and put him on the foul line.
Yeah,
And there's
you're gonna go under.
late second fouls. You foul the point guard, which is not normal because he shoots 35% from the foul line.
Even from the free throw
From
line?
the free throw
I didn't know
line.
that.
He doesn't shoot well from anywhere.
Dang.
But I don't know.
He
You
needs
can
to-
get one of those shooting coaches out there and maybe.
No, he needs to talk to Kevin Martin, man.
I remember you said that last week too as well. I don't know. I heard good things about Dirk Nowitzki's shooting coach.
Yeah?
He's a German, but hey, his brothers are going to be in Lithuania. Probably close enough. They can probably get it to work together.
Kevin Martin commented on it, actually. He's like, I actually didn't think that I would ever see anybody shoot the same way that I do. It's the exact same starting and ending points.
Yeah, from the shoulder.
Yeah. So
And K-Mark was one of the better 3-point shooting assassins out there.
he was averaging like 20 points a game, and he was shooting really well.
Really nice.
So even if it's not just the shooting for him, it's maybe just the play style. He has to change up a little bit to get the open shots. So
Could be looks too. LA, he could want shots from corners or, I don't know, having the ball in his hand all the time. It's kind of hard to create your own shot.
yeah,
He was never really good at creating his own shot from the game from that I saw at UCLA. He was a playmaker, and he would get the fast breaks, the loose balls, and stuff like that. It could be just a totally different game. Well, NBA is a totally different game, so he could just not be fitting as easily as people thought he might have.
Mhm.
But, hey.
All right, so that's pretty much it for today. If you guys liked what you guys heard today, let us know in the comments below. Hit the like button, whatever it is, share with your friends, subscribe, all that fancy stuff. And if you guys have stuff that you guys want to hear us talk about, let us know, because sometimes we want to talk about some interesting stuff too.
The giveaway.
Don't forget about the giveaway that we have. Again, you have to go on Instagram, on Facebook, follow us. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, and leave a comment. Again, once we hit 500 subs, we'll randomly select one of you guys and can mail it out to you as long as you're in the GTA.
Mm-hmm. You have to represent the Toronto and represent the Six. I would like to see some sort of Raptor affiliation somehow. Keep your comments something Raptor related or the Ball family related, because I love talking about the Ball family. It's always funny as hell. But definitely, subscribe, like, and follow us. We are going to be doing the Raptors Den weekly as best as we can. And thanks for listening, guys.